All right, folks. We're back. And we're going to get back into the whole EVP thing here in a minute, but I want to point out some things. Um, Here's some helpful hints. I'm going to bestow some of my knowledge from 25 years of doing this, or almost 26 now. Um, Actually, no, it is 26 now. I started on my birthday, which is kind of ironic because it's also when I got clean. Yes, I had a stint as a drug addict. Don't think about it too much. Anyways, so I guess you could say that paranormal investigation kind of saved my life. Anyways, the things I want to point out is there's some helpful hints for you, some rules, if you will, when doing an EVP session. Um, First one I've already said is to kind of use the history in your questions. So, like what I've been doing here is kind of not what I do. The EVP questions you've heard me ask tonight isn't typically what I do. Sorry, hiccups. Because typically what I do is I use the history in my questions. Like I'll ask things if I know the person I'm most likely dealing with, say, like died in the 1800s, I'll ask questions about what life was like in the 1800s. Or even more specific questions about them in particular. So it's good to have those kind of questions in your head before, and have all your research done before an investigation actually starts. Helpful hint number 2, and this one is not going to happen overnight. I promise you, it is not going to happen overnight unless you get it down now. Is the fact that kind of like the big rookie mistake people make with EVP sessions is they don't take a pause after they ask a question before they're already asking the next one. I'll give you just a quick example. This is typically what I'm talking about. What's your name? When did you die? How did you get here? See how quick those questions are? That's like the rookie mistake I'm talking about. What it should be is, what's your name? And then in your head, you count to like 10,000. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, up to 10,000. And then you ask your next question. And the reason you want to do that, especially when you're using a digital recorder, is it gives them time to answer you. And even then, a lot of the time, what you'll notice on digital recorder EVP sessions is you'll get answers like 5 minutes into a question you asked at the beginning. Because time doesn't mean the same thing to them. So answers can sometimes be out of sequence. Also, it is good to not just do the same old questions over and over again. Kind of the general standards are what's your name, or who are you? What are you doing here? How did you die? Etc., etc., etc. Just basically the same boring questions you've probably seen on TV shows a million times. However, speaking of the TV shows, kind of a good example of what I'm talking about is Ghost Adventures. They've gotten really good at using the history in their questions. So that's one good example that you can get from watching the TV shows. Um, Also, another good thing is to not push it. Realize that it takes quite a bit of energy for them to do anything to where we would even notice it. Whether it's talking on a digital recorder or like an app, or if it's showing themselves, it takes quite a bit of energy to do that. And that's kind of what. Okay, nobody can say for 100% certainty what a spirit is, but we believe that a spirit is just energy because, like the great physicist said, energy never stops; it just changes form, and that's what any living thing is it's just energy in a physical body. So when our physical body dies, the energy doesn't stop; it continues. Um, that's my theory. That's kind of a generally accepted theory, actually. Um, but there you have it. So realize that it does take a lot for them, and give them breaks whenever you can. They'll always want to communicate with you. Spirits will always want to communicate with you, unless you're, a total asshole and you're provoking like nobody should. Um, which is actually the problem with a lot of investigations. That's why they start to dry up on evidence, is because nobody wants to be treated with disrespect. Even if they were a total douchebag in life, they don't want to be treated with disrespect. Key example of that is we did an investigation at the Mansfield Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio, which is kind of famous now because of ghost adventures and ghost hunters and stuff. And everybody there, including both of those teams, provoked when they were there. We don't do that. We went in there, and I'll tell you word for word exactly what I said. I said, look, I'm not here to disrespect you. I'm not here to yell at you and call you names and treat you like dirt. As far as I'm concerned, you served your time. And you paid for it because you're dead. All we're here to do is communicate with you. And boom, immediately after I said that, the activity went off the scale. So my advice would be never provoke. The only time you should ever provoke, the only time you should ever yell and cuss at a spirit is when you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that what you're dealing with is in fact evil, which honestly, 9 times out of 10, it is not. Actual demonic evil spirits are rare, people. They do not happen that often, regardless of what people think, because of Hollywood and mass media making it seem that way. They do not happen that often. Most of the time what you're dealing with is a frustrated spirit that's simply trying to get your fucking attention because they want to talk. And all they've got to talk to on the other side is, well, themselves. Which I'm sure you can understand would be maddening after a while. I mean, they can talk to each other. Spirits can talk to each other, but, that's only fun for so long. And it's like the same for us, We can talk to living people, and we do. But it's not the same as talking to them. And it's the same for them on the other side. It's like they can talk to each other, but it's not the same for them as talking to us. So just realize those things. Okay, so anyhow, let's get right back into it. Okay, we're back. Hi. Did you guys hear what I was explaining to my listeners? No? You weren't listening? Okay. I was just curious. So, like, other than talk to me, what do you guys do for fun? You read? Really? What do you read? Do you read, like, novels? T- Textbooks? History? What? History? Wow, we got some history buffs. Okay. Well, that's cool. Do you learn, like, how long ago, like, what year did you die? I know that's kind of a sensitive question, but did you say 1839? Thought I heard 1830 or 1939 maybe. 1929? Yes. Okay. And do you all know each other? Like, did you die at the same time? How how did you die? Can I ask that? Was it a fire? Yeah, it was a fire. Okay. Um. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, that really sucks that that happened to you. So are you like all family to each other? Yeah. So what are you? Brothers and sister, or husband, wife, and whatever? Yep. Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just. Was the fire here, or was it close to here? Was this the? Wait a minute. Was this the fire Anadine Farm? Yes? Okay. Okay, well, that explains a lot, actually. Alright, I'm going to pause this for a second so I can explain some things to my listeners, okay? Alright, be right back. Okay, so I need to give you some background on what I'm talking about. There's a place, it's literally within walking distance to my house. It's like a block away. And it's the Anadine Farm. And it is a haunted location. They actually do ghost hunts there. But, or they did. I don't know if they are anymore. But, Anadine Farm was actually built for the daughter of O.C. Barber, the guy who founded my town that I live in, Barberton. His daughter's name was Anna, and he built that farm for her. It was actually intended to be like a wedding gift for her and her husband, but she ended up not getting married because he left her at the altar. And that contributed to her death. I don't know for certain whether or not it was suicide. The history's a little bit vague on that point. However, both Anadine Farm obviously is named after her, as well as Lake Anna, which is actually a man-made lake that we don't know how deep it is, because it's actually fed by a underground spring. So I mean, they can't tell. Best guess though is there is a fissure down there that feeds water into the lake. And best guess is it's over 100 feet down, but we don't know for sure because nobody dives there. Even if you did dive there, you probably wouldn't see much because it's not dirty water, but it is murky water. You know, because of all the silt. It was a man-made lake. It was originally a rock quarry, but I digress. Anyways, so there was a fire at Anadine Farm that destroyed a good chunk of it. Like the actual main building is no longer there. All that exists now is what they call the pig barn or the piggery and the horse barn. Both of which have been converted into other things, and both of which are haunted. Because there was a lot of stuff that went down there, and I'm not privy to all that information as of yet, because even though it's down the street, I've, as of yet, gotten to investigate there. Because they charge to investigate there, and I'm not made of money. But it does bring up a good point. Now that I know this, I can start asking historical questions. Because they gave me the year 1929. I know they died in the Anadine fire. Hold on a second. Sorry, I was responding to something in Palace chat because, well, somebody said something and it just kind of didn't set me off. Like, I'm not mad about it, but, like, made me want to make a point. And I'm not going to get into the discussion on the air, but, yeah. So, anyway, I'll get back into the EVP stuff here in a minute, but I want to share some things with you first. I've had some revelations, I guess you could say, lately. So, some thoughts and ideas about the paranormal world, as well as the world in general, have dawned on me. Like, my whole rant on Monday about the difference between skeptics and closed-minded people was kind of about that. Because that revelation came to me too. But also, I think that as the whole paranormal thing becomes more and more accepted, I think more and more people are going to start to see it not as a job, not as a hobby, but as a calling, as a responsibility, as a duty. And I think that's how it should be. Because you got to think about it. I mean, let's face facts. Most of these people, and I call them people, even though they're spirits, they're still people. Most of these people that we talk to sacrificed to be where they are now, as in a spirit. They made some kind of sacrifice to get there, to die. In itself is many times a sacrifice, believe me. Especially with the young. Case in point. I've always told myself I will never, ever live in California again. Will never happen. The place is too expensive. What I can rent a 3-bedroom for here You can't even rent a one-bedroom floor in California. So I have no plans to ever live there again. But I haven't even visited the place either in like 20 years. But there is one thing that could bring me back, without a doubt, is the spirits there. Because California has some of the most haunted places on Earth, including what is generally recognized as the most haunted house on Earth, the Whaley House, where I have kind of done impromptu investigations. And I would love to go back in a more, kind of official capacity someday. But anyhow, so yeah, all these ideas and revelations come to me from time to time, and a lot of it has to do with stuff that I'm not even going to get into tonight. It's so a topic for another show, and it's very Alex Jonesy, very very Glenn Beckish, if you will, because it is kind of, I guess you could label it as conspiracy theory, although I think everybody would agree at this point it's more like conspiracy fact at this point. Um, things that are going on in the world and are about to go on and about to happen, and certain revelations about all of that, and uh, how apparently the spirit world is reacting to it, which once again is a topic for another show. But I just wanted to share that with you, that these revelations have happened and will be discussed in the future. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I want to announce to everybody I'm going to have a special Saturday night show. Saturday, January 9th. You're going to want to be here because I'm going to have a guest on the show. I'm going to have a good friend of mine by the name of Rob Henry. And Rob is a really funny guy, and he's also the host, or one of the hosts, of a show that I've been on as a guest, Living Paranormal. And we're going to be talking to him about, how he got his start and what his experiences were. And we're going to have a good time and all that stuff. And, yeah, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that. That's going to be Saturday the 9th at the same time, 8 Eastern. So, yeah, I've had his co-host Jason Olivo on the show before. I was in a show called The Texas Ghost Hunter because he lives in Texas, and I joke around with him. I call him my favorite Mexican. So, because like the first time we ever talked was on that radio show, and I got him good. I didn't even remember what I said, but it was great. It was quite humorous, and it went a lot better, to Jason's credit, than it could have gone, because it so could have been taken the wrong way. But luckily, he has a good sense of humor. So, yeah. So yeah, you definitely don't want to miss Rob Henry on this show. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. Um, and that one probably, well, I think I can do it through Shoutcast, but it might just end up being through Spreaker. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But either way, I'll set it up so that everybody can hear it once they go to the website, which, by the way, is ghostwolfradio.weebly.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. There's going to be some new features here in the near future concerning that, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I've only got about 14 minutes left, and I don't know at this point if we're going to get back to the EVP or not, because I've actually got a lot to say. But I'm going to go a little bit into the history of EVP and how it started, because a lot of people don't know this. That, like, back in the day, EVP was like, before it was ever on a TV show, EVP was done by those old-fashioned cassette recorders. Like, if you're older than 30, you probably remember these old things. They were basically like a little, like, rectangular box with the handle on it, and you had to press the play and the record button at the same time and hope it stuck down in order to record on a magnetic cassette tape. And that's how EVPs were originally done, was on a device like that with a microphone hooked up to it. Usually like a crystalline mic, because it could pick up more. Even though they were, like, way expensive and nobody could ever afford one of those. Like, even back when I started, that's what we were using. They didn't have digital recorders yet. Like, the height of, like, that whole generation of technology was the mini cassette, and those were expensive. So I'm sure you can imagine like what it was like back then, investigating on a budget. Like, everything was busted up and broken. But it actually started with folks like Dr. Hans Holzer, and the Warrens were, I believe, actually the first to use it. But it goes back even farther than that, actually. Nikola Tesla, back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, along with, oh God, right on the tip of my tongue. Hold on, I need to look up something, because I hate when this happens. I always forget names. And I'm horrible with names. I really am. Alright, come on, you stupid thing, load. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it's loading. Albeit slowly. Come on. Load, load, load. we go. Come on. Come on. Yes, that's his name, Marconi. So Nikola Tesla and Marconi, who invented the radio, what he called at the time the wireless telegraph, invented another device. Um, let's see. I'm trying to find the name of it. Basically, what it was is like if you've ever seen like old movies or like westerns, sometimes they'll have them. The original recording and playback device wasn't a record player in the traditional sense. In other words, it wasn't like a flat vinyl disc. It was a cylinder that locked around this device, and it would play that way. And it was basically the same concept, except this one was hooked up to the most sensitive microphone that they could manage at the time. And the results for the time were absolutely staggering. You know, it was cutting edge, you know, for 1898. I'm sorry, 1896. Tesla also invented a device called the Second Life. Not to be confused with Second Life online, where you go into a 3D virtual world and act like an idiot. No, this Second Life was different. What it was is basically like you ever been in a novelty shop and they've got those globes with the electricity in it, and you put your hand on it and it'll follow your hand around the globe. Similar concept, but this was like a wand, and it was called the Second Life or the Spirit Wand, and it had different attachments for it. And basically what it would do is it would react to spirits in the environment, and the spirits in the environment could charge themselves off of the electromagnetic output coming off of this thing. So, in effect, it was like a dual piece of equipment that he invented. And so, a lot of these early inventions, they were adapted by like Dr. Hans Holzer in the Warrens, but they were really invented way back at the start of the spiritualist movement by guys like Tesla and Marconi and others of their ilk. A couple devices actually have never seen the light of day, as far as the general public knows, that they were actually invented by Sir Isaac Newton, who not only was a member of the spiritualist movement, he was a Freemason. So you can take that for what it's worth. In fact, a lot of the spiritualist movement were in fact, Freemasons also, including Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Just so you know. Anyways, so there you have it. Let's see. I've got about 4 minutes left in the show. And that's about all I got for tonight, folks. So I'm going to go ahead and end it a little bit early because there's this party going on in Palace that I want to get to. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in on the 9th for Rob Henry. It's going to be a fantastic show. And that week, by the way, it's going to be... there's going to be no Wednesday night show. It's going to be Monday and Saturday that week. So, there you go. Alright, well, that's about it, folks. Thank you once again for tuning in. Until next time, my pack, my tribe. Peace out.